On the road, the dead walk. The living should stay out of their way. People say this is the last Chinese jiangshi movie. It's considered the final glory of Hong Kong's hopping vampire films, and also a tribute to Lam Ching-yin. If you like zombie-themed stories, why not revisit this classic with me? Friendly reminder, the movie is intense from start to finish. Strongly suggest tagging your clueless friend to watch it together. Ah Hao left Wukun at 13 to seek his fortune. At 16, he got his first leading role. He acted in many films and created many iconic characters. After decades of ups and downs as zombie and kung fu films declined, Ah Hao, now in his 50s, moved back to Wukun. The building manager, Uncle Yan, arrived late. Room 2442 had been empty for a long time. Before entering, Yan Uncle knocked on the door. Inside, he looked around nervously, seeming afraid of disturbing something. He lit incense and bowed toward the room and left 3 sticks of incense at the door before leaving. Ah Hao didn't care at all. With his career ruined and his wife and child gone, he had lost all reason to live. He just wanted a quiet place to end his life. After listening to his son's voice message with tears in his eyes, Ah Hao kicked over the stool. As suffocation set in, memories flashed in his mind but quickly faded like smoke. Then the room began to change. The white cloth on the floor slowly rose, and there seemed to be a person standing underneath. Blood slowly spread, finally turning into a wisp of blue smoke that entered Ah Hao's body. Ah Hao instantly lost control, drenched in sweat, performing a series of difficult movements. At the critical moment, a man in pajamas broke through the door, cut the rope, and saved Ah Hao. Ah Hao was now possessed by a malevolent spirit and immediately struggled violently with the man. The man slammed Ah Hao against a mirror, and Ah Hao was thrown heavily to the ground. The loud noise drew the attention of the neighbors. Ah Hao vomited a mouthful of black liquid and returned to normal, putting on sunglasses to keep a little dignity. That night, Ah Hao noticed a woman constantly looking into the room. When he opened the door, he saw the woman squatting on the floor, secretly eating offerings left for the dead. She turned to him, terrified, and kept apologizing, but Ah Hao didn't notice anything unusual. Ah Hao went downstairs to get something to eat. The man who saved him was named Uncle Yu, from a family that had hunted ghosts for generations. But in his generation, he couldn't even see a single ghost, so he had switched careers and now ran a sticky rice diner. At that moment, Aunt May came to Ah Hao. Out of concern, she reminded him that the apartment had been empty for a long time. "Do you understand what I mean?" "I don't know what you mean," Ah Hao replied. Aunt May's husband, Uncle Dong, had no children, and the two had spent decades together. That night, Dong went out to take out the trash and saw something terrifying in the hallway. He slipped, fell down the stairs, and died on the spot. Aunt May, busy at home, seemed to sense something was wrong, but strangely, Dong soon appeared back home. May lovingly washed his feet, only to realize that his feet were still ice cold even in hot water. "I'll be back in a few days. Wait for me." It turned out that everything had been a dream. Eventually, May saw her dead father in the stairwell. Dong's death left her devastated. May went to A Gao, hoping to bring Dong back. A Gao's method to revive Dong was corpse refining. The corpse had to be placed in a heavily cursed coffin in a very yin-filled location, kept off the ground, absorbing dark energy. Through careful work with the bagua for 7 days, with the help of Uncle Yu's assistant and a coin mask, Dong could return within 7 days. A Gao warned May not to remove the coin mask until Dong was fully revived. In the following days, May stayed at home, hardly met with outsiders. That day, a little boy sneaked into Aunt May's house. Normally, May treated him well, often giving him treats, but today she pushed him out. It turned out that Xiaobai was the child of this crazy woman. The two of them often picked up offerings in the hallway to eat. Ah Hao happened to see this. The woman then hugged the child tightly against the wall. Ah Hao thought she was afraid of him, but unexpectedly, a sound came from behind. On the road, the dead walk, the living should stay out of their way. After the ghost soldiers passed, Ah Hao followed the woman to an electrical room. Inside, there was nothing but a bed. The woman hid on the bed, trembling. As Ah Hao tried to approach and speak, Uncle Yan arrived. It turned out the mentally unstable woman was named A Feng, and she had previously lived in room 2442. She and her husband were both teachers at a nearby middle school. Unexpectedly, while tutoring a pair of twins, her husband had evil intentions. Her older sister then stabbed him with scissors. Knowing they had made a huge mistake, the two sisters hanged themselves in the room. When A Feng returned, she saw the bloody scene and from that point on became mentally unstable. Uncle Yan, feeling sorry for them, settled the mother and child there, but the two sisters remained in the room and became vengeful spirits. An accident also happened on Aunt May's side. The coffin fell, a terrible omen, but Aunt May didn't care. She took Uncle Dong out of the coffin and thoughtfully made him a new set of clothes to try on. Recalling the past, Aunt May couldn't stop crying. At that moment, Ah Hao found Uncle Yu, hoping he could help exorcise the twin sisters in room 2442. Uncle Yu was single, but the table in front of him was full of bowls and chopsticks. You invited friends? They all live here. Looking through the mirror, the table was already surrounded by people. Ah Hao explained his purpose, but Uncle Yu had no intention of helping. I already did my best in room 2442 last time. Fear is your own problem, not theirs, he said. Ah Hao could only leave quietly. Just after returning home, Ah Hao was splashed with black dog's blood and grabbed by the neck, unable to move. It was Uncle Ju from downstairs. He stuck talismans on Ah Hao's forehead and began chanting spells. The two sisters appeared. Once possessed, Ah Hao became extremely strong. Uncle Ju's weak skills were no match, and even using all his strength, he was beaten and spat blood. Hearing the commotion, Uncle Yu came to check. Upon entering, the sisters grabbed his neck. Together, they cast a spell to force the twin sisters out. One spirit became two, making them even harder to deal with. Uncle Ju, terrified, retreated and tried to use a yin method, but was stopped by Uncle Yu. The female ghost took the opportunity to pounce, and Uncle Yu grabbed her by the neck. Uncle Ju bit his finger, dropped his blood into the ink line, easily subduing one ghost. Seeing the ink line was effective, Uncle Yu took out his own portable ink line to handle the other ghost. Finally, with their cooperation, both female ghosts were tightly bound with the ink lines and sealed inside a wardrobe. Afterwards, Uncle Yu scolded Uncle Ju. How could you be so cunning, using someone else's life to lure the ghosts? It turned out Uncle Ju was seriously ill, using the yin energy of small ghosts to prolong his life. As his illness worsened, he planned to capture the twin ghosts to extend his life. The twin sisters left room 2442, and A Feng and her child finally returned to their home. But recalling the past horrors, Ah Feng was still terrified. Ah Hao prepared a lavish dinner for them to an outsider. It looked like a happy family of three. Just when it seemed there would be a good ending, something happened that shattered the short-lived peace. Uncle Dong's body showed no signs of revival. Worried about a mishap, Aunt May went to Uncle Ju again. You said you had another method? What is it? I need the blood of a virgin boy. Can you afford it? Meanwhile, Uncle Yu noticed signs of foul play. All the unpatched clothes carried the stench of zombies. Not having seen Uncle Dong for days, Uncle Yu boldly guessed something had gone wrong. At that moment, Uncle Yan arrived at the diner and showed the gold tooth he had found on the back stairs, confirming Uncle Yu's suspicions. Uncle Yan also learned from A Feng that a man had killed Uncle Dong, and many children followed him. This immediately made them think of Uncle Ju. To investigate further, Uncle Yan went alone to Uncle Ju's home. Aunt May hadn't left yet either. Just as he stepped inside, he scattered candies on the ground. Sure enough, a small ghost couldn't resist the temptation and appeared. This scene was witnessed by all three of them. Uncle Joe, I've known you since childhood, and you still like playing with these evil things. Uncle Yan took out the gold tooth and questioned Uncle Ju, "Where is Uncle Dong?" Before Ju could answer, Aunt May hit Uncle Yan with an incense burner to knock him out. To revive her husband, Aunt May was willing to commit murder. But that wasn't all. That day, Xiaobai sneaked into Aunt May's house again. She remembered what Uncle Joe had said. "Isn't this the boy's blood?" Aunt May removed Dong's coin mask and brutally pushed Xiaobai into the bathroom. Aunt May. Meanwhile, Uncle Ju sensed something had gone terribly wrong and rushed to Aunt May's house with his talismans. The ancestral talismans at Uncle Yu's house began moving on their own. Outside, thunder roared as if a disaster was unavoidable. When Uncle Yu arrived at Aunt May's, he saw blood everywhere and the place in chaos. Uncle Yu was suddenly grabbed over the mouth by an evil hand. A zombie suddenly jumped out, waited for the zombie to leave. It turned out that when Uncle Dong fell down the stairs, he had not actually died. He was found by Uncle Joe, who intended to help him home. But Dong regained consciousness midway and lost control. They fell to the first floor again, and A Feng witnessed the scene. Uncle Ju pretended he wanted to revive Dong, but his real plan was to turn Dong into a zombie to use as a vessel for the twin sisters' spirits, extending his own life. Since the twin ghosts were captured, Dong had lost his value, but Aunt May removed the coin mask and fed him Xiaobai's blood, causing today's disaster. After explaining, Uncle Ju died, leaving the mess for Uncle Yu to handle. But Uncle Yu worried he could not handle the zombie alone, so he sought Ah Hao's help. Meanwhile, A Feng was searching for Xiaobai and accidentally came to the wardrobe that sealed the twin sisters. Thinking her son was trapped inside, she tore the ink lines and broke the wardrobe, not realizing Xiaobai was not inside, and the twin sisters were freed. Eventually, A Feng saw Xiaobai's spirit on the stairs. Learning the truth she no longer cared about, whether Dong was a zombie, grabbed a stick and went to take revenge. A Feng soon found Uncle Dong in the hallway, but he had become a zombie. Ordinary attacks couldn't harm him. Although weak as a woman, a mother is strong, but even so, she could not overpower the invulnerable zombie. A Feng was pinned to the wall. At that moment, Ah Hao arrived, throwing a homemade Molotov cocktail. The zombie burst into flames, but unexpectedly, it lunged at Ah Hao, diving into a pile of glutinous rice. The twin female ghosts arrived. The zombie had body but no soul. The female ghosts had soul but no body. Combined, their power and combat ability reached maximum, and a new zombie king was born. The zombie king instantly broke a steel pipe and threw it at Ah Hao, piercing his body. Ah Hao endured the pain and staggered toward Uncle Yu's house but collapsed halfway. Uncle Yu put on his long-lost Taoist robe and took out the ancestral talismans. When he found Ah Hao, he was barely alive. Uncle Yu used a soul-calming talisman to buy Ah Hao. A moment's time, then set up a 5-element formation in the hallway, lighting corpse oil to lure the zombie. The zombie soon appeared, moving as fast as a ghost. Uncle Yu activated the 5-element formation, and Ah Hao fought the zombie evenly, but a mortal body has limits, and Ah Hao soon fell behind. The zombie was caught by vines, giving Ah Hao a brief chance to recover. As the cycle continued, Uncle Yu broke his own arm to buy Ah Hao more time. With the zombie and Ah Hao locked in struggle, Uncle Yu threw a peachwood sword to help, but the zombie broke it. As the metal element arrived, night fell, with the blazing sun. Uncle Yu judged the timing was right and decisively crashed through the window, dragging the zombie and Ah Hao out. The fire element followed, and the zombie was engulfed in flames. At that moment, Aunt May arrived. Seeing her husband in such a state, she chose to die as well, leaving with Dong. The scene then shifted back to when Ah Hao first arrived in Wukun. Everything had been Ah Hao's imagination. Uncle Yu was just a diner worker. Uncle Yan was sleeping in the security room. A Feng and her child were tenants. Aunt May was sewing. Uncle Dong had long been dead. Uncle Joe was just a coroner. Everything was a delusion, orchestrated in Ah Hao's mind. Perhaps he was unwilling to die quietly. Perhaps he longed to relive his past glory, but every performance must end. We cannot live forever in the eyes of the audience.